What do you do when God calls you into music ministry but the record companies do not? Saxophonist Angélla Christie joins us to talk about how she took a step of faith and is now entering her 25th year in the music business. Welcome, Angélla.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm absolutely fabulous.
It's great to have you. Now, before we talk about your life in the music business, I wanted to ask you about the early days because you are the daughter of missionaries.
Yes.
And you on record saying your parents fasted and prayed for you more than any of the other children.
Right.
So much so they sent you off to a school.
Right.
Tell us about that part of your life and how the Jesus thing happened.
Well, when I was 12 years old, I gave my parents a lot of trouble, a lot of challenges. I was an independent thinker, which most people call rebellion, as you know. So I had a little rebellion inside of me, and one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. And I was one of 5 children. So they sent me to a girls' home at the age of 12. And when I got out, I was 13 years old. And I share this story everywhere. Many things that could touch a young woman's life between the ages of 13 and 17 touch mine. So when I got tired, ran into my brick wall, I needed this God of my mother and father, who is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I went to the Lord and I said, if you'll give me what you gave my mom and dad, I will serve you the rest of my days. Because right after high school, I didn't want to live a redundant kind of life. I call it the treadmill of life, where you go to work and you buy things, and to maintain things you go to work, so you're on this vicious cycle. And there was a song that I used to hear as a kid all the time, that only what you do for Christ will last. And because I had been through so much as a teenager, by the age of 17 there was a maturity in me that already understood there's more to life than what I'm living. And I think my mom and dad have a clue. And so being raised in a Christian home, it made me lay out before God and ask him not only to save me, but to give me that extra thing that I heard about, that the woman at the well did not receive because it had not been dispersed yet. And that was the living water, that you will never thirst again. And the Lord baptized me in the Holy Spirit. I was 17 when that happened. Wow. And it transformed my life. It really did.
Of course, listening to the story, the times you've told it, it's quite an incredible and exciting one. But let's skip forward to your life as a musician, a music minister. Why did you choose the path you've chosen? Because I mean, you could have done inspirational music. I mean, it's jazz. No one knows what it is. You know, that could have been good money, much more than gospel artists make.
Possibly so. But this is what's interesting. When you fall in love, your heart kind of goes where your treasure, your heart, they kind of go in the same place. And I was so in love with God after he rescued me. It's like somebody saves your life and you're indebted to them for the rest of your life because you love them just that much. And the songs that I started off playing were Because of Who You Are, I Give You Glory. You know, Because He Lives, that was back then. Because He Lives, I Can Face Tomorrow. And because He lives, all my fears are gone. And because I know who's holding my future, my life is worth living just because He lives. And so those songs were all inside of me from coming up as a child, hearing that. My ultimate desire really was to be a rock star, not to play gospel. And sax became my voice, and it became my expression of being able to melodiously caress God with my song, with my melody. And it just became a relationship type of thing where I got to go everywhere and just stand up and blow my horn and let them know by way of the Spirit. Sing unto yourselves with psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. And so even though it's melodic and you may not know the song, it's the spirit of the song that usually raptures the heart of the listener. And God forbid if they know the words. It just sends you this way. You know, it sends you to the throne.
Talking about capturing people's hearts, recently you were in Nigeria, and I got a call from a brother of mine, Pastor Goodheart. And he says, Angélla Christie, and I mean, I knew who you were, because, you know, some of the material play on the radio station in London. So he says, Angélla Christie, I said, and then he explains what ensued as you played in Abuja, and I thought, OMG. What are some of the, as you've traveled around?
Yes,
you know,
I have.
25 years, you've
By
seen,
the grace of God,
a bit.
I really have.
And you've seen church, you've seen the things we do, you know, the slap your neighbor 3 times, jump around 5 times. What are some of the encouraging things that you've seen happen with people as you've done this blowing your horn thing?
The most magnificent thing, and I believe it's a power that God gives. It's the ability to take a person from a depressed state, or a sad state, or a weakened state, or a mediocre state, or a wishy-washy state, or a I'm fatigued, life has just got me today, and to be able to lift their spirits and pull them out of that and let the music draw them out to worship. To worship God. That is the one thing that he has desired from the very beginning. Let my people go, right, that they might worship me. So to be used as a vessel, when at one time church people would have considered me as a teenager unworthy of this particular place. But God in his mercy and his grace has been refining me as a woman and placing me before massive congregations to stand up and just declare that he is still the same yesterday, today, and forever, that he's a deliverer, that he's a way maker, and that he is a God worthy of our praise. And even brought me here to you at CBN.
Now, we have about 30 seconds left, but I wonder if you could tell us, now, looking back, what others might have called rebellion, which you call
independent thinking.
Independent thinking. How is that played out? How's God used that now?
Oh gosh!
Because you do need that in this business.
You do. You really do. He has used it in a magnificent way. The same way he used Paul's aggression and passion about killing Christians and putting them to death when he converted him. It's the same passion and drive that he had, but it was for good things. And so in the same respect, my independent thinking allowed me as a woman to take a saxophone, which is quote unquote a man's instrument, make it my own, and hit the road full time, without a manager, without booking agents, without etc. Believing in my heart that promotion comes not from the east nor the west, that it comes from God. And I am living evidence that it is so.
Thank you so much, Christie,
oh gosh,
for joining us.
Thank you for having me.